marching band. For your halftime entertainment, we celebrate the 43-year reign of the Speed Metal Kings, Metallica. With 9 Grammy Awards and 14 nominations, 38 concert tours worldwide, and 11 studio albums that span 4 decades, the Titans of Thrash remain the standard by which all other metal is measured. We begin with a 1984 classic from their second album, For Whom the Bell Tolls, followed by the 1992 tour anthem, Wherever I May Roam. And then, let's turn down the house and light up the stage with the Auburn University Marching Band and their show, Metallica.
Post-game reaction time. Auburn versus Texas in Neville Arena. Auburn is victorious, taking down Texas for the very first time, visiting Neville Arena. There's been some discrepancies about that, I think, about how long this series has been going on. I digress. Post-game reaction time. Let's break it down. The stats, the score, the storylines, all of that coming up right now. War Eagle, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of E2C Network Live, where we get together, we sit down, discuss, and share the Auburn experience, all about Auburn sports, Auburn culture, Auburn family stuff. If it's orange and blue, it is what we do. So thank you so much for joining us in what we're doing this evening for post-game reaction, Auburn versus Texas. Your Auburn Tigers are victorious by the score of 88-82. And we got to talk about it all. It's definitely within the framework of all of the stats, the individual stats, the team stats, and the storylines amongst all of that. We're going to be getting into that in this particular show this evening. We'd love to encourage you to start off our show, any live stream that you're here, especially watching live on YouTube, the video portion of this show, by making sure you hit that like button, the share button, wherever you're watching, whatever's available to you. And let us know that you're here, where you're watching from. Certainly, that's a great way to start off every single live stream. You can do that for us. And this is certainly a great one to be celebrating tonight, because I think this is I want to call it a complete win, but certainly one I think you can find a lot of satisfaction from. And if you're an Auburn basketball fan, we do ask you guys, we start off every stream because that's kind of what we'll get going. Some of you already are doing that. If you'll type in player of the game or the abbreviation POTG and that person's name, put that in. And we'll certainly talk about that a little bit here when we get to individual stats tonight. I want to start off with this thought that I was having as I was watching the game tonight from the team. I really like this team. And you're like, okay, that's the most basic thought. That wasn't that profound. It's not that I didn't like this team before. But tonight, for some reason, there was something that clicked for me that I really liked, watched, how they responded to some adversity. I think it was a 14-point deficit at one point versus Texas at home. I said, or we tweeted out in the middle of this game, is this just like Auburn's thing to have somebody go bonkers 3-pointers every time we play them in Neville Arena? And I think I'll quote Justin Hokanson for putting it out there, said something like they were 200 and something in 3-point percentage coming into this game. And of course, they would go set, and they'd only make about 7 per game, 7.5 3-pointers per game, and they would make 7 in the first half. That's just wild. It's just wild that Auburn catches them on that type of night and overcomes that adversity. Fought hard, never gave up, never panicked, just went to work doing what they do best and what individuals do best, but also amongst the team. And the result is an 88-82 win tonight, which I think is very satisfactory for you if you're looking at the wholeness of this game and not the frustrations maybe of seeing them shoot the way they did, that being Texas in the first half, and giving us a little bit of scare on a very physical game tonight. Very physical, especially between Jovic and Vokatitis, I think is how you say that. Very physical game. Something going on there, it seemed like at times. Let's start off with stats here. That's what the bulk of our conversation is usually about. We will do team stats at the end here, but we're going to start with individual stats. And I asked you all to give us who is your player of the game. So many of you have already given out Keyshawn Hall as an option. We've also got Kevin Overton in there coming in for a few of you as well, which I think are your most likely candidates when you look at the scoring and stuff. But oftentimes we find, as we walk through the entirety of their stat line, you might find others that are just as worthy of a player of the game mention. But let's start up at the top. Hard to ignore 31 points for Keyshawn Hall. Juxtapose that with his first half. which was very minimal. 5 points, 6 points, I think is what it was. I think it was 6 in the first half. And then he pops off for 31 total throughout the game. You do the math there. I'm not going to do it on the fly and embarrass myself, even though that's very simple math. 31 points for Keyshawn Hall, 7 of 13 from the field, 3 of 6 from the three-point arc, 14 of 17 from the free throw line. That's just wild that he goes 17 times and he missed 3 of them. Like, we don't see that often. It's kind of shocking if Keyshawn Hall misses 2. Everybody misses 1, right? Like, it's just kind of how the thing is. Well, some nights. But to miss 3 for Keyshawn Hall is wild, but he did go to the free throw line 17 times. 3 rebounds for him, 2 assists, 2 personal fouls, 2 turnovers in 36 minutes of play. A very strong and very complete stat line for him. Obviously something that you can definitely write home about again. This is like what, the third 30-point game for Keyshawn Hall or something like that at this point. I think that's what we're sitting at in the season so far for Keyshawn Hall. But 31 points, pretty strong. Right on his coattails, not Todd Pettiford, not somebody else, but my guy Kevin Overton. I've told you all season that I believe that Kevin Overton is the thing that's going to hold this team together. Whether that's him popping off for 20 plus points tonight, or just doing the small things on a regular basis and being a team leader. There's a shot of Tahad being kind of not consoled, because it was just like one of those, teammate moments where Kevin brought him in and kind of threw his arm around him after a frustrating play. And I can just see right there that he is kind of the glue that's holding this whole thing together, in my view, right now. And that doesn't mean that everybody else is not integral to this team, but Kevin Overton's got a lot of influence over the outcome of what this team is going to be this season, and you can see why. 25 points on the night for him, 6 for 9 from the field, 5 for 7 from the three-point arc, 8 of 8 from the free throw line, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 3 personal fouls, no turnovers in 33 minutes of play. He did have the technical earlier in the game, which I actually didn't get a good look at the time, so I think it was more of an emotional outburst more than anything. Seems a little out of character, to be honest with you, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I can get a different shot at that and have a different opinion about that, but there is a personal foul or a technical foul on him. So that's your 2 leading scorers right there, and likely, very likely, your primary targets for player of the game. You can kind of take your pick. A lot of you have already voiced that at this point. If you have not given us your player of the game in the live portion of the show, please do so. The rest of the scoring tonight, you had one other person in double digits because the other 2 took all of the scoring. Elijah Freeman tonight came on pretty strong, 10 points, 4 for 6 from the field, 1 3-pointer, 1 of 1, and then made 1 of his free throws, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 personal fouls, 1 turnover in 19 minutes of play. So 3 guys in double digits tonight. The bulk of that came by way of Keyshawn Hall and Kevin Overton. So strong performance by those guys in the double digits tonight. The rest of the scoring, we'll kind of work our way through it here. 2 guys tied with 7 points. Tahad Pettiford with 7. 2 for 10 from the field. 1 for 4 from three-point arc. Makes both his free throws. 3 rebounds, 3 assists. He is the leading assist getter tonight. So once again, this is a stat line that not everybody is excited about for Tahad. But I continue to stress and continue to talk about the things that he is doing that people aren't giving him enough credit for. And that is obviously some things like leading an assist, usually defending very well, obviously getting involved in other areas of the game too. We have certainly expected more from him this year, scoring, especially at home. So the trend continues, right? That for some reason, the majority of the games where he scores the least have been at home. We go on the road to neutral sites. It's just wild. I mean, somebody at this point figure there's got to be some reasoning behind it. I don't know what it is, but Tahad continues to have smaller scoring games at home. Also tied at 7 points, Sebastian Williams-Adams. I'll be honest with you. I think Sebastian had one of the better games tonight, just kind of recollecting it off the top of my head here. Only 7 points. I felt that he had more points than that tonight. 2 of 4 from the field. Attempted a three-pointer, did not make it. 3 of 6 from the free throw line. Definitely an area that he can continue to work on. 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 personal fouls. That is obviously, it's not the most amazing stat line when you look at Sebastian Williams-Adams and what he's been able to do over other games, but I saw a lot of versatility again by him tonight of playing very good defensively, moving very quick out there on the perimeter, guarding some of their very talented guards for Texas. There's that coast-to-coast steal and score that was early on in the game. So I thought Sebastian Williams-Adams statistically had a much better game, and that's probably one of those examples where you could have seen that. This from WT. I agree. Kyle Sway seemed like he scored a lot more. He does a lot with the little things, especially on defense. Certainly, he's a lot more agile than you would think he would be as a big man, which is to his credit. The next person scoring tonight, Keyshawn Murphy, has a quieter night with 6 points, 2 of 3 from the field. He makes one of his 3-pointers, which was a bank in. Did anybody catch the words that were being said by Stephen Pearl after that? He called a timeout, I think, in response to him even taking the shot, if I'm not mistaken. And he went over to coach someone else, but then kind of stopped the coaching he had with that player and then kind of pulled Keyshawn as he's coming by and said, it looked like to me, he said, "You're lucky that went in," because it was a very interesting choice to shoot that. But like the announcer said, they were playing off of him, and we know he can shoot the ball. So coach, for the most part, gives them free playing as much as you can in the Pearl system, both his father and now him, Stephen Pearl. So there's Keyshawn Murphy. The rest of the scoring tonight, one other person on the board, that is Filip Jovic. 2 points tonight, 1 of 2 from the field. He misses both his free throws tonight, which were the technical fouls that he drew against Vokatitis. I think if I got that right, that's amazing. He struggled tonight with fouls, certainly banging down there with Vokatitis and others. He was, I want to say, getting picked on, but got caught up in a lot of situations down there, which I think were a little bit frustrating. He probably had to overexert himself a little bit too, which probably put himself in position to be having more fouls called on him. So you wonder if he's not in foul trouble. Only 14 points tonight. What happens with him? And obviously, we would love to see a little bit more out of him, but he continues to be very strong defensively and kept their big man from doing a little bit too much tonight. Blake Muselik also gets in for a few minutes there and contributes as well. So that is your team scoring. We've walked through it all. Player of the game. All of you voiced it earlier. The two people that we were hearing the most, I think, would be Kevin Overton and Keyshawn Hall. It's so difficult to answer this because, once again, I've said that Keyshawn Hall just makes us feel like he has to reach this next level, which, hey, 30 points to be given the player of the game. But then someone else has an equally impressive game given their normal production and outright. So Kevin Overton, making all his free throws, just outstanding from the three-point arc. I'm struggling because I should give it to both of them, but I like to be able to not sit on the fence of something like this. But listen, whoever you pick there, I'll just decide at the last minute before we get out of here, because I would hate to not give player of the game to either of the two of them. They were impressive, especially the way Hall responded in the second half after being very quiet in the first half. Okay, that's the individual stats. We are now going to move into our team stats portion of the show. We would love to walk through you with it. We would love to walk through these with you in the following fashion. Most of you know the drill. The big three is where we're going to start. Turnovers, free throws, rebounds. Not necessarily in that order, but free throws, turnovers, rebounds. If you win these three, you're going to find yourself in a position to win the game. It doesn't necessarily mean that you win it. Something can overcompensate or help lessen the blow if you don't win those for the other team. But certainly, that would put you in a good position. Let's see how we did. Free throws tonight. Not 80 or 90% like it was last game, which was just absolutely maniac. I know y'all are tired of me gushing about that, but my goodness. as I said on the podcast this week. Jammed up jelly tight when I saw that. 78% for Texas and 74% for Auburn. So they do not win that category. A few more makes here, and you're probably pushing the 80% mark where I want to see your team at. It's not a bad day shooting from the free throw line. In fact, they went 39 times. So to make 24 of those, pretty impressive. I'm not going to harp on them about it, but just a few more of those, and maybe this thing gets put away a little bit easier and a little bit more than a 6-point win. Really a 4-point win because that last one was kind of weird at the end. Let's look at turnovers. This is what we should be seeing, especially at home. At home, you should be taking care of the ball. You're the one that's comfortable. You're the one that is not under duress of a fan base, anything like that. Turnovers tonight for Texas, 11. Could have been worse for them, but still double digits. You don't want to see that for a team. Auburn, 3. That's right. You heard me. 3. When is the last time we had 3 turnovers in a game for Auburn? And that's it. That might be the stat that won the game. I'm not going to prematurely go into it, but that might be the stat that won the game right there. 3 turnovers for Auburn. That is it. Who got the 3 turnovers? Let's look and see. On Auburn's side, 2 for Keyshawn Hall. He was trying to do a lot. And then Elijah Freeman, 1 turnover as well. Not many notes are there. You're going to have turnovers in the game, but you got to keep them contained. That is keeping them contained. Rebounds. Auburn does not win this category, 26-23. Now, I believe they were in position to win this one later in the game, but that flip-flop towards the end there. 26-23. Texas wins that one. So Auburn loses 2 of the categories, but look at that differential on turnover. So like I said, just because you lose those categories doesn't necessarily mean you lose the game or opposite win the game. Let's see what else we can find out. There's a lot more to go through. Field goal percentage. What are they shooting for both teams? Texas could not miss in the first half, at least 3-point wise. But 52% to 51%, they win. Basically a push. We'll call it even. 3-point percentage. Very good for Texas in the first half. This is like their best 3-point shooting game ever in this season. It seems like 46%, Auburn 52. If you make 50%, 1 out of every 2 3-pointers that you're shooting at home, I'm not going to say you 100% win, but you're going to do really well, usually. Hopefully the other team is not matching you, which Texas kind of did in some respects, at least in the first half. Points off of turnovers. Auburn doubles them up and more, 7-18. That is a big, big, big differential there, especially when you factor in the way the turnovers were. You couple those 2 things together right there, that might be the stat of the game. Second chance points, 9-6. Texas wins. Texas won a lot of these categories, which is why they had a 14-point lead at one point. Bench points, 7-12. Auburn wins that one. Points in the paint. We've seen Auburn win points in the paint a bunch this season, 24-20. Texas wins. Texas win fast breaks, points by 2. Blocks, they win. Steals, Auburn win, which makes sense with the turnovers. Assists, 10-8. Texas won. So you look at this back and forth here. Texas wins a lot of categories. They win 2 out of the big 3. They shot the ball 3-point percentage more outstanding than they typically did. They should have won this game. It's even here in the confines of Neville Arena. So kudos to Auburn for weathering the storm against what was probably one of their more complete games outside of turnovers that they had, and you got the W. I think the most important stat team-wise in this game, it's either turnovers or points off of turnovers. I'm going to say points off of turnovers just because, yeah, you get the turnover, but what do you do with it? You steal a possession from them, you steal points from them essentially, but to do that and then get some, and because that differential is 7-18, you more than double them up. Looking at that correct? Is that a 13 or 18? I think that's an 18. Make sure. That is an 18. So that's pretty good. Pretty good. That's the stat of the game for me, and I'm excited about that, which results in your 82-88 win. Auburn defeating the Texas Longhorns in Neville Arena, and you pick your player of the game at this point. Keyshawn Hall or Kevin Overton. I'm going to give it to Kevin Overton because I love my man, Kevin Overton, but Keyshawn Hall, you deserve it too, buddy. It's just a difficult choice for me tonight, and I hate making choices sometimes, but good game by both of them. Okay, we've got some more time to discuss things with you all here, so we want to get into some of your comments. I saved a couple of them, but keep bringing them up, and we'll talk about it a little bit more detail. If there's things that we left out, things that you want to discuss, please do drop them in, and we'll talk about them a little bit to round out our show tonight. Let me remind you of a few things here that we have for you on tap, and that, or this week at least, for next scheduled live streams. Obviously, this is a Wednesday night, so no Auburn Family Night tonight. This is in lieu of that. Next week, I believe we're back to having a basketball game on Tuesday, so we'll have Auburn Family Night as far as I know. This Saturday, though, is your next scheduled live stream. Big one, Auburn, Tennessee in Knoxville. If Auburn can go into Knoxville and get a win there, coupling that with their Florida resume, they are going to be, in my opinion, pretty set for March Madness. Not saying you can lose the rest of them. You can't, but that's going to be two really good away game wins in there. So really important game. Bruce Pearl obviously isn't here anymore. His son is, but that connection still is there a little bit. So it's always a special matchup for the Pearl family. Stephen did play there after all. So that'll be kind of a cool storyline to follow there as well. Sunday night, the Auburn Experience, episode 160. We're going to talk about the Auburn sports, the Auburn culture, and the Auburn family all in one show. Join us for that, 9 Eastern time, 8 Central, every Sunday night. That is your schedule for the week, and that are my reminders for you. And check out the links in the description for ways that you could support, connect, get involved, all that kind of stuff. Links are available for you. If you can't access those, let me know. It's a link tree. You can look up linktree.com/E2C network and it'll take you there. Okay, let's start here with my good friend Blake. Tahad came off the bench last year and has taken a different role. That's why I think we are starting to win and look better. Players starting to play their roles. Team is growing. And then hashtag free throws. Yeah, he knows how to win me over. Listen, yeah, Tahad certainly is playing a different role this year and is having to adapt to that. And I think also, let me couple with what Blake is saying here, fans are having to adapt and learn that just because you anticipated and you built up a narrative in your head that this guy was going to come out and be the leading scorer every night and do these amazing scoring things doesn't necessarily mean something's wrong or something is out of sorts. The team just won 4 in a row, beat the best team in the SEC, has arguably beaten to this point the top 3 teams in the SEC. We can argue that third one, but I would agree with Blake. And I think Blake just put it to a point what I was trying to express. There was something tonight when I was watching this team that I really liked, and that really just, it's not that I was not bought into the team, but I kind of reached a different level of appreciation for them. I think that's it. We're starting to see people know and accept their roles on this team, and that's why it's flowing so well, or at least seemingly so at this point. We'll see if it continues. It's not a bad point to bring up. This win streak has shown that we are forced to be reckoned with during the conference tournament. We stand a legit shot at taking it home. A little bit of a step out. However, I think when Auburn does play their best, Hunter, they are one of the best in the SEC, and there's some good teams in the SEC this year. Current update on the rankings, tied with UK for 4th in the SEC as of right now. We'll see how the rest of the night goes, changing those things out. That continues to help them move up. Okay, let me keep rolling through here. Let's see what else we got. By the way, we already gave him a shout out. I'll give him one more though, because it's in my little queue here. Hunter has been a channel member for a long time, but he upgraded to the next level. So we appreciate that very much. So thank you, sir, for being willing to support our content. So another little shout out for you, since it was in the queue here for me on YouTube. Let's see. This is from War Eagle G27. Todd looks sad, like he didn't play his best while his teammates are out playing him. This was a little bit earlier. I don't know if I saw anything like that. I think Tahad is like we talked about earlier. He's finding his role and figuring it out, and is going to do what's best for the team. But I think there's a certain push that comes with some of these moments on the team where this player is not meeting the expectations as a fan that I set for him, which sometimes are a little bit unfounded, at least speculatively. And because of that, that means that they need to be on the bench. It's the same people that told you that Zach Jasper needed to be on the bench and not starting, but ignored everything else that he did for the team. And every time he didn't get to start, the team suffered. So I think right now, just because Tahad is not scoring like you would like for him to do, that doesn't necessarily mean that someone needs to switch out. In fact, I mean, you have three main point guards. One is not playing a lot right now, Caden Magwood. I don't have any updates on what's going on there, but he's on the sideline supporting his teammates, which is good to see. And then Blake Muselik, who is more so known for his defense and is there to kind of give a spell for the point guard situation from time to time. And he's doing the best that he can in that area. So Tahad's your guy right now. So I am happy that he does seem to be accepting his role and figuring it out along the way. This is from Unbeaten Lake. Steven has already beaten 4 of what a lot of people consider the best coaches in the countries. Give him a statue. Another little bit of a step out, but I love it. I'll take the positivity over anything else. This is from Hunter. I feel people fail to grasp how difficult it is to have consistent individual play in a sport of basketball. On that note, though, Hunter, it makes it difficult to understand when you see Keyshawn Hall pretty consistently. He had a 2-game stretch there where it wasn't consistent. 20-point games pretty much, or high teens, 20-point games, and then he's popping off for 31 and doing the bulk of it. He's having a 20-point half, right? He had 20 or something against Florida in the first half. So if you couple his first half of Florida, his second half of Texas, it's pretty incredible. Keyshawn Hall tonight, man. What a player. And what if he might be the find of the transfer portal in basketball, and Auburn got him. So you have, for all of you that were upset with Bruce for leaving you, he certainly left you a good foundation with that. All right, I think we have covered the bulk of it, so we are going to call it a stream, folks. Thank you so much for joining us. Once again, as a reminder, your final score, 82-88 or 88-82. Auburn wins in the confines of Neville Arena, overcoming a 14-point deficit to win the game, setting themselves up for good position in the SEC. A 4-game winning streak. Really good. Keyshawn Hall went off. Kevin Overton went off. You pick your player of the game. And I think the stat of the game is points off of turnover, 7-18. Auburn wins that. Folks, you better be very happy with this game. I am. You should be too. This is a very good basketball team. And shame on you all for downplaying them early in the year. Those of you that were doing that, you know who you are. That being said, thank you so much for hanging out with us and spending some time being part of our little family within the Auburn family. As we go, I remind you, the Auburn Creed asks you to do justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with God.